JMR, please correct me if I'm wrong, but when you started, Juan was a junior in high school. Is
Whoa,
sorry, DJ JMR.
Why are we bringing this up now?
I'm
Are you
just
trying
saying.
to point out how old I am?
We're just trying to get a little history here.
No, you're trying to point out how old I am.
No, I wouldn't think of doing that. Never. You're only 17, right?
Juan was a student in the program. That was when I first met Juan's brother, Luis.
Yes.
Before I got to know Juan, Luis was in my class.
Yeah, and not to put my brother on blast, but I mean, I know he did pretty good, right?
He was
okay.
Hey, don't. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Just kidding, Luis.
They were all excellent students, every one of them, because they knew too. They realized the importance of it, and they realized that they were there to better themselves and to give themselves an opportunity to go to college, and that's what it was all about. It was giving them an opportunity, and so. And that's what made coming to work every day easy, because you knew you had students who were keen to learn, who wanted to be there, and that makes it easy as an instructor. It makes it easy, and it makes you want to work harder for them.
Excellent. Was your first year, was that a bit nerve-wracking for you, or was it something that you really just wanted to do?
It's always nerve-wracking when you when you have a group of students, you're standing up in front of them, you're teaching them something. That can always be nerve-wracking. I still get nervous now. I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds of kids concerts, but I still get a little bit. I don't want to, slip on the banana peel. Or you're in front of people. So definitely, it was really wasn't my first teaching experience, but was my first classroom teaching experience because I was doing substitute teaching during the school year, But substitute teaching and working for Upward Bound, two very, very different things. In Upward Bound, I was writing the lesson plans. I was in charge of the class. I was doing the grading. I was doing everything. When you're substitute teaching, you walk in at 8, you leave at 3, and you make sure nobody gets hurt in between. So there's really not a lot of responsibility, but that was my very first real teaching experience. And so, yeah, definitely I was nervous, and I wanted to do well, like I said, immediately you understand the importance of what you're doing when you're teaching those kids, that they really want to learn, and so, yeah, a little bit of pressure on there.
We'll have somewhat of a 2, maybe 3-part question.
Okay.
Because you started as a summer instructor, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When was it that you started working full-time for Upward Bound?
I started working full-time, well, I sort of eased into first of all, it was, for a couple of summers, I was just a summer instructor, and that was it.
Right.
And then after a couple of summers, I was asked to come during the school year and attend some of the weekend meetings and be part of that, and maybe teach some workshops and some
Is that the
classes
Saturday
here and there.
meetings?
The Saturday meetings,
Okay.
yeah. And then once I graduated in 2004, graduated from Eastern with my bachelor's in secondary ed and a minor in Spanish. The timing just happened to be perfect. The coordinator position came up, and I thought, well, I really was training to become a teacher, but Upward Bound it affords you that opportunity to do both, and I could still teach, but I could still also help with recruitment, help with organizing, the program, and really get to know the kids on a day-to-day basis, visiting schools and stuff like that. So it was a no-brainer to apply for that position.
And yes, Rod, I did work for Andy as an office assistant.
I wasn't going to ask anything more. I think you let it be known that you didn't want your age and your history disclosed on the radio. Andy, now just share with us, because now that you have the experience working as a summer instructor, and then you had the experience more on the administrative side, can you share with us what that was like, making that transition to seeing all the nuances that has to go behind developing the summer program and all those kind of particulars? Do share with us.
Night and day, two completely different worlds. All of a sudden, you're dealing with budgets. You're dealing with, the grant is always hanging over you. At some point, I believe that first year I was there, I think the grant was being written or it was coming up in a year or so there was all of that. There's just a lot of, you've got to read what is that manual thing or whatever.
It's either grant or Edgar.
The grant
It wasn't the grant one. It was just whatever. Susan just put it on my desk and said, "Here, you got to read that."
I'm
probably Edgar.
pretty sure it was Edgar.
Either that or
it was Edgar.
Edgar
Yeah.
OMB.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So you really got to have an understanding. As a summer instructor, you don't. It's not important. That information's not important. But as a member of the program, the coordinator of the program, you have to know that stuff, and you really have to know that where the funding comes from, where all this money is coming from, how to get students into the program, how to keep them in the program, how to make the classes challenging for them, rewarding for them. Just all of that stuff comes into the other side of being the coordinator. There's just a ton of stuff. All of a sudden, it's a whole new world opened up for me when I became the coordinator.
That first year as the Upward Bound coordinator, what was one of your most memorable experiences there?
First year as coordinator, I think one of the things that I will remember the most is we took a group of students at the end of the year we took the bridge students to Dallas-Fort Worth for a couple of days. And one of the things that I hadn't seen as part of the program, and it might have been previously, but I wasn't aware. I wanted them to do a volunteer project while we went on that. Yeah, we were going to go to Six Flags, and we were going to go to, I'm not sure where else we went. We did a bunch of fun things in the area, but one of the things I wanted them to do was a volunteer project. So I got in touch with a food bank in Dallas. And we went down to a neighborhood that was not the prettiest of neighborhoods, and we went to it was a food bank, and it was a shelter. So we prepared meals, and we worked there for about I don't know, maybe 4 hours, and it was an eye opener for me, but I really felt like it was an eye opener for the students as well, because I'm not sure any of them had ever seen anything quite like that. I mean, there were literally hundreds of people that came through that day to get their only meal. And I was like, well, okay, wait, where are all these people living? They're on the street. What do you mean they're on the real eye-opener? So I think that, for me, was definitely one of my most memorable moments of organizing that visit to that shelter in Dallas. And giving that experience to those kids that went on that trip. We were celebrating the end of their Upward Bound experience and the beginning of their college experience, but at the same time, giving back as well. So,
well, I'd like to highlight that Juan and I have come up with the philosophy for the program since he and I have been administrators for Upward Bound, and it just sounds like what you all were doing before. We know that we are kind of building on the shoulders of what you all left, but it sounds like it's going right in line with the culture that we're trying to create with the students. And one of our last philosophies out of the 4 or 5 we have, whatever it is creating a culture of servants or service. And so I really appreciate that experience that you had with the students, because I do believe that it's something we've continued over these years to instill that culture in our students to give back. I'll steal a phrase, reach one, teach one.
Yeah.
Once you've been given, then go back and reach and help somebody
Absolutely.
else and teach somebody else the way. So,
Absolutely. I also believe that going through the program myself was this belief that we had to go back and help somebody. Even after we've been served, we've gotten our college degrees, that it was our responsibility to help those that are right behind us and those who are struggling. So those are one of the things that I took away from Upward Bound as a student and as an office assistant, and still implementing that to this day.
Absolutely, and you're doing it every day. Every day you go to work, and you're doing it. You are giving back by giving your time to Upward Bound. I mean, yeah, it's a job and it's a paycheck, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And you're reaching out to those kids now that don't know if they're going to be able to go to college, don't know if they're going to be able to afford to go to college, don't know the process of getting into college, don't know any of it.
Yeah.
And don't even think that they could go to college.
Yeah.
And you can stand there and say, which I never could, well, I've been through the program. I stood right where you're standing right now, and I can tell you that this is going to be a good thing for you. I mean, you have that, which I could never say to them, well, yeah, I've done Upward Bound too, because I didn't. But you've lived it, for well, how many years, Juan? What are we talking?
Think about these years.
I mean,
We're talking 12, 13 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Rod. No, I was recruited into the program. I'm sure you remember Doris Anaya.
Yeah. Doris hired me. Doris was the first.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I was in the program about year 2000. I was recruited as a junior going into junior or sophomore. And me and my brother Luis got recruited at the same time. And it was just an amazing experience. I mean, I still carry it with me to this day, and it's still impacting me.
And do you use that when you go out to the schools and you're recruiting kids? Do you use that experience to tell them, look, I've been where you are?
Absolutely. I mean, I take every opportunity at Saturday meetings or when I'm doing a special lecture for the students that I remind them and highlight that I was part of this program and that the greater things will happen to them as well. For some of them, we worry, is college an option for them? What is after high school for some of them? And so for me, it's always been, I've got to go to college. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but Upward Bound is going to help me get there. So yeah, absolutely. I always use that at every chance I get.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well, if I can steal a bit of the thunder, this probably could be held to the end of the interview, but I know that we're going to provide some time for you to share with us about your music and how you're touring and all those kind of things. So before the moment escape us, Juan, I would like for you to share with DJ JMR. I would like for you to share with us how Mr. Andy impacted you in his tenure with Upward Bound. I mean, you remember the experience and the history that you have. Go ahead and share.
Absolutely. I don't mind. Andy has been, being the coordinator for the Upward Bound program, he's brought a level of contact with the students. I want to say more engagement. And he also, he was a freshman seminar instructor while he was the coordinator with the Upward Bound program.
That's right.
And he brought me along as his TA, as his teaching assistant. And I just saw him teaching, and that just, it made me want to be that type of teacher, a teacher that can engage the student, interact with them, and relate to them on multi-levels. Just be able to tell them that you can do this. You are worth teaching. And that's, for me, that's one of the things that really impacted me about you, Andy.
Well, thank you. I still, to this day, every kids concert that I do, one of the things that I tell them is that you can be anything anything you want to be, but as long as you're willing to work hard. If you're not afraid of hard work, you can be anything. And then I go, look at me. If I can do it, you guys can. All you guys can do it.
If I can highlight one thing, I remember in a specific Saturday session where you brought us outside and you had us juggle.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I still can't juggle. I mean, I try it.
So I didn't do a good job.
But no. It's not that at all. It's not that. It's not that at all. What I want to highlight is that you made us realize that no matter the obstacle, if you keep trying at it, you can eventually do it. And that's what really highlighted for me. And I think that juggling lesson, my brother got it actually before me. So shout out to Luis. He got it, I think, and he took him a couple tries, but I still couldn't get it. But you explained the lesson to us, and that's what really hit home to me, is that no matter the obstacle, whatever the challenge is, keep plugging at it, and you can overcome it.
Yeah, because and the reason why I use the juggling is because people look at that and go, "Oh, I could never do that."
Yeah.
But really, there's a method, and you can do it. And even if you're not that coordinated, you can still do it. And for me, that was the thing that switched the light on in my head and went, "Wow, if I can do that, what else can I do?"
Yeah. And
that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
That lesson to be for them.
Right.
I wanted them to have that aha moment as well. Wow, if I can do this, what else can I do?
Right on. And speaking of that lesson, I mean, it's funny to me now. I mean, several instructors of the Upward Bound program still have an impact on me today. You just among them with that juggling lesson. I mean, even if I wasn't successful, I can honestly say, with the help of the Upward Bound program, with the help of the instructors and their lessons, that I can look at a master's program, I can look at a PhD program and say, that's just another obstacle. If I keep
you're not afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really tears away that fear.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on a brief music break. I think Mr. Rod has something for us, and then I'll play your
I do have something. I do have something.
He has something, I promise. And then Andy will also have a song. I'll have a song in there before that. So keep it tuned here to Hound Waves Radio. I almost forgot where we were. I thought I was gonna say iTunes. Hound Waves Radio. You're listening to Let's Talk TRiO with a featured guest, Mr. Andy Mason. Keep it here. We have Mr. Rod pulling up his song right now.
Mostly I do concerts throughout the Southwest, so New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma. I've branched out up into Colorado, up into Wyoming. This past summer, I got to go to Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And did 14 summer reading concerts in Canada and Alaska. And then over the last couple of years, I discovered that they also have summer reading programs in Australia and New Zealand. And so, but their summer reading programs are in January because that's when they have their summer.
Nice.
So last 2 years, I've been able to go to Australia and New Zealand and do concerts out there for their summer reading programs in January.
Nice.
Spent 5 weeks in 2012 in Australia and 5 weeks in 2013 in New Zealand. It's been amazing. I've always loved to travel, and to be able to travel and share music with people has just been an amazing experience.
You also list at a charity usually that you do. What is that charity that you donate when you take donations? What is the charity that you give to?
It's an organization called Smile Train, and Smile Train it's a very one-track thing. They do cleft palate surgery for kids all over the world, including right here in New Mexico. And I say that everywhere I go to do my concerts. I'll tell them, including right here in Texas. So it's not. I mean, a lot of people say, well, charity begins at home, and I think that is true. But Smile Train does work here in the United States, here in New Mexico, here in Texas, and so, like I said, they do cleft palate surgery for kids and adults that they find all over the world, and it's a real simple fix. It's a very common thing to be born with a cleft palate, and it affects many people. And it, to me, it's such a simple thing to fix, and it means everything to them. It means every day their speech, their eating, their speaking, everything revolves around that. So. For them to go through life with a cleft palate is just we can't let that happen. So for $250, you can pay for one surgery. And so what I did was, in fact, I've got the song. I don't have it lined up, but maybe before we go, we can play the song.
Absolutely, yeah.
The song is called Smile. It's on iTunes. There's a video on YouTube. You can just look up Andy Mason Smile. And there's a whole bunch of people from Portales, a whole bunch of people from my family that are in the video. And sales of the song, and also now there's a Smile book, which an educator, mom, and illustrator from Clovis, her name is Chris Beach, she asked me if I would like the Smile song to be illustrated.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Oh, nice.
So now there's a Smile book. So the Smile song, Smile book, and I take donations to the tip jar wherever I play live. And so far, in about 2 years, we've been able to raise over $4,000.
That's nice.
And we paid for 16 kids to have the surgery.
Awesome.
So every time I get $250 in the pot, I call Smile Train, make another donation, and then we just keep on going. And we're just going to keep on keeping on with that as much as we can. So if you want to help out, you can go to iTunes, you can download the song, you can go to Amazon, you can order the book. Or you can just go to YouTube, Andy Mason Smile, watch the video, and share it with everybody you know.
Nice.
Because the more views we get, the more people will download it, and the more smiles we can fix.
All right, right on. It is such a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And you've written it very, very well. I'm gonna let Rod take the next question. I'm sorry, Rod.
No, you do it. No,
Sorry.
my goodness. Well, ask the question because I'm gonna digress just for a bit. So go ahead and ask the question while we're on the topic.
So Andy, I mean, the song "Smile," of course. Well, how were you inspired to first of all write the song?
Well, every summer at the end of the summer tour, and every Christmas at the end of the year, we've been making a one-time donation, and we've been doing that for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. One at the end of the summer, one at the end of Christmas, just as a way for us to give back. And then I thought, shoot, I'm a musician. What else can I do? I want to do more. So I thought, well, I'll write a song, and we'll make a video, and we'll put it up on iTunes, and all the money that comes from the sales of that song, we'll donate to Smile Train. So it just seemed like a no-brainer. That's what I do. So why don't I why don't I mesh the two? So sat down, wrote the song, and recorded it here in Portales with Jake Jones, who had a studio here in town. And we got a whole bunch of local musicians, Franklin Smith. We got the high school choir, Joe Green from Clovis. They all donated their time and came into the studio to help us with the song. And Jake did an amazing job. And we also found a vocalist, Amber Wiley, who's from out of town. She came in to work on some stuff, something else for Jake. And I said, hey, get her to sing some harmonies or something on Smile. Well, she just hit it out of the park. I mean, she just did. It completely changed what we were doing once we heard her vocals. And so we took my vocals out, took the guitar out, and it became a piano song, and evolved to what it is now. So that's how that happened.
Right on.
Well, speaking of Smile and speaking of the charity spirit, if you will, the first song that we played, you talked about it being your favorite song, and you gave us some background on why you chose the song and why you have selected the song as your favorite song. Could you just give us that again? If you can just reiterate that, because I think it's timely and is kind of fall right behind the idea of Smile and what you're trying to do in your movement.
Definitely. The song we played it's a George Harrison song, and it's called "Blow Away." And it's all about he's really feeling down in the dumps. He's just gotten in the mire of the complications of life, and all of a sudden he realizes in the song that he's really all he's got is to do two things. That's it. He says, all I got to do is to love you, and all I got to do is to be happy, and that's it. Those two things. And so when you break it down, when you can look at something and make it as simple as that, then it's easy to take that next step and to go on, when you really feel like, there's the cloud is over you. And so throughout the song, he just talks about, the wind blew in and the clouds were dispersed and the rainbows were appearing and the sun is now coming out. And finally, I'm realizing that really I don't have to worry about all that stuff. There's just these two things that I got to do, and that's it. And that is the message throughout the song. And that I just feel like that's a message that people need to hear, because we can get so easily we get caught up in paying our bills, worrying about our kids, going to work, worrying about budgets and government shutdowns and wars and bad stuff. We're surrounded by it, but really, you can focus on that, but it's just going to cause you to worry, and it's just going to stress you out. So there are things that you can do and things that you can't change, right? So just focus on those two things. All I got to do is love you, and all I got to do is be happy. And whoever you love, that's cool. Whoever that is, whoever you're singing to, it doesn't matter. It's all good.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching the top of the hour. Andy, thank you very much for coming out and sharing all of your experiences with TRiO and your music. Thank you so much. We want to, before we go on break, Rod and I will still be here for the next half hour. Before Andy leaves, we would like to play the song "Smile." Okay. So, Andy, if you could cue it up for us.
I'm going to find it.
And we will play it live here in the studio.
And while you're locating the song, Andy, could you provide your Facebook and provide any other social medias that you're a part of for the audience?
Yeah. The Facebook is Andy Mason Music. The website is andymasonmusic.org, and I recently broke down and joined Twitter, so it's at Andy Mason Music. So that's pretty much everything right there.
Right on.
All right, thank you,
All
sir.
right, here it's ready to go.
All right, so
Andy, if you'd like to introduce your song, please, sir.
All right, this is the song Smile on Hound Waves Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you were just listening to Stevie Wonder, Golden Lady, off of his album Inversions. And before then, you were listening to She and Him, song title I Could. Is that right? I could. I could.
Have been your girl.
And before then, you were listening to Mr. Andy Mason, our guest for the evening. His song, Smile. And again, Andy provided that information. We'll be sure to update our Facebook with
Absolutely.
Andy's contact information in case you would like to invite him to your respective schools, or if you'd like to purchase his music. We'll have that update on our Facebook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick into our next part of our session, and this is our fun facts. So, go ahead and get ready. Get your thinking caps on. We have a few useless facts that we're just going to quote over. And I'm going to put Mr. DJ JMR on the hot seat once more. So hopefully he'll be able to get... Well, he did get...
Hold on,
one
my
last week.
thinking cap is a little maladjusted. Hold on.
No, get your thinking cap on. You ready to go? You got
All
my
right.
music keyed up?
I got the music keyed up.
All right.
That's nice and very dramatic music I can hear in the background.
Excellent. I like it dramatic. You know how I am, sir. All right. So DJ JMR.
What's up?
Take a guess of how many bones we are born with. How many bones we're born with?
How many bones we're born with?
Yes, sir. How many bones?
I want to say
To give
over.
you- go ahead.
I was gonna say over 30. It has to be
Over-
32.
Over 30. Oh my goodness. Just a hint. There was a movie that was released, I would say maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Had to deal with a large army, and they fought an even larger army, and it was throwback. It was back in the day. A lot of Greek mythology. I mean, I'm throwing out hits. Come on, man. You gotta give
300.
You got it.
Oh my gosh, it was 300. All right, right on.
We were born with 300 bones, but by the time you become an adult, take a guess how many we have.
Does it reduce?
I don't know if I want to give you that yet. Take a guess.
Oh shoot. All right. Well, my guess is that our bones do somehow join up and something happens. So I will say that by that point we have less than 200 bones.
You are very good. Actually, we have 206.
What?
Exact, yes.
No way.
So you're born with 300 bones, but by the time you become an adult, you only have 206. Okay. Are you ready for our next fun fact? For the evening?
Yeah.
Jamaica has the most blank per square mile than any other country in the world.
Jamaica.
Jamaica, man.
Most rainforests? No. It has the most concrete than any other world. I don't know, Rod. You're looking at me like I'm funny. I have no idea.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not banks, at least not in Jamaica. Now, that's
No
a
banks?
different island. Well, they have banks, but that's not what they have.
That's where I was gonna stash my money.
Most. Well, some are. We won't talk about that right now.
Okay.
Jamaica has the most churches per square
What?
mile than any other
No
country
way.
in the world.
I almost assumed it was Portales.
Not quite.
Huh. Odd.
All right, so our next fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, can I get a drum roll, please? Can I get a rim shot? I guess that's kind of.
I guess we'll do a yeah.
Anyway.
Cowbell.
All right, here's a nice one for our history major.
All right, challenge.
In 1859,
Oh my goodness.
blank rabbits were released in Australia.
As soon as I heard rabbits, and I was like, this is going to be the oddest question ever. Blank rabbits were released in Australia.
There's
So
a number.
there's a quantity associated to
Yes,
this question.
there's a quantity
And
associated.
I'm guessing it had to do with repopulation of the rabbits. Something happened.
Sure, we'll go for it.
I want to say 30 rabbits were released.
You know what? You're kind of on this. 24 rabbits.
No way! Oh my gosh!
You pulled it up. Let me look at your
I
screen.
look. It has what we're currently playing, our playlist on our
I don't
screen.
know how he does it, ladies and gentlemen. Within 6 years, the population grew to 2 million.
Wow.
So in 1859, 24 rabbits were released in Australia. Within 6 years, the population grew to 2 million.
So that's a note to all parents: do not allow your children to get approximately 20 rabbits.
That's a lot of
Dude.
rabbits.
That is a lot of rabbits. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 15 minutes. We'd like to encourage anybody out there listening, if you have a TRiO testimonial and you'd like to share your story regarding TRiO programs or your staff, student, alumni, etc., 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 call in at 575-562-4083. Rod and I will be here for the last 15 minutes. We're going to take a quick music break. We'll be back. We'll do a small discussion, and then the show's over from there. And you'll be sad for a week, and then we'll be back. Okay. So, Rod, do you want to lead us out with a song? I think you said you wanted to cue up a song. Or am I putting you on the spot? I'm sorry. No. I was kidding. So, the next song that's coming up, I have it actually queued up. I was giving my co-host a little bit of a hard time. I have Panda. They're a Mexican rock group, and I don't know what is with me lately with rock groups singing in Spanish. I just love it. I absolutely love it. So this is going out to all the people that need to be more exposed to other types of music. Rock music in Spanish is pretty. It's the bomb. So here's Panda with Buen Dia.
Just listening to DJ JMR's Special Spanish and Rock. I do not remember the song title, but I'm going to let him
Buen Dia by Panda.
By Panda. So remember, could you say that one more time, sir?
It's Buen Dia by
Buen
Panda.
Dia.
Buen Dia.
Did I say it correctly?
Yeah.
Buen Dia.
You exaggerated the buen a little bit, but you'll get it. You'll get it.
For us non-Spanish speaking people, sometimes we like to exaggerate like our roles, our R's, and
like
Simon. I'm learning. I have my actually it's a second world Spanish that I customize in, and sometimes I have to spend time teaching DJ JMR
this
on
customized
how to
Spanish. Just
Spanish.
FYI, this Spanish.
Rosetta Stone hasn't yet caught up to speed with my
I figured
Spanish,
they wouldn't, Rod.
but she'll get with it sooner or
Okay.
later, and then they'll be paying me bukus of money, and then I can come back and reinvest it into the radio station Hound Waves, and pay for the licensing and all that good stuff.
I will tell you though that the one thing that your language and the Spanish language have in common, it changes constantly.
It does.
The rules change constantly.
It's one of those things that it's constantly moving, progressing, developing. It's just like Twitters and all the social networks.
It evolves.
It does. It has to keep up with the ever-changing, inevitable change of the people.
Absolutely.
And so, one of these days I'll have a dictionary out.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't had any callers. I'd like to remind all of our enmu participants that if you just call in and just give us a testimonial or possibly answer a trivia question that we'll have at some point. If you just give us a testimonial, then you will place yourself in a favorable position to have your lunch order customized for the week.
Just for you.
Just for you. Actually, there was a perm that was called Just For Me.
Oh yeah.
You didn't know that.
I didn't know
You
that,
didn't
Rod.
know
I'm
that.
acting like you when you put me on the spot with 90s music that I should be familiar with. I'm like, Rod, I don't know.
Well, you should, because most of the artists that I call out are from California. But anyway,
That's neither here nor there.
Anyway, we would like to dedicate this time to testimonials. Unfortunately, we don't have any callers at this time, so we're going to go to our next song. This gentleman is named Rudy Currents. He is from, I believe, South Carolina. It's some remote place in South Carolina. He is a uprising artist, if you will, R&B artist. You can look him up on YouTube. His name is Rudy Currents, and this song that we're about to play is called Here With You from his 2007 album, Here With You. It's getting pretty cold outside, so this song hopefully will provide a little warmth for all of the lovers out there. Here With You. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you were just listening to Here With You by Mr. Rudy Currents. I hope that song brought a little warmth to all of our couples out there. That is the end of my part of the show. I'm going to pass it back to DJ JMR. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your lovely time.
DJ Brother Rod, thank you so much for the wonderful introductions, your callbacks, man. I do thoroughly appreciate you being a co-host here for Let's Talk TRiO.
Thank you, sir.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for us. We're about to head out. Please enjoy the season premiere of The Walking Dead for some of you who are watching. I know Melinda's watching over there. Also, tune in next week. We do have a very special guest. Miss Tara Grant from the Arizona State University TRiO Student Support Services Program will be joining us live. She'll be calling in, and we'll be talking to her about her TRiO experiences. Now, we are under week 2 of the government shutdown. This I know, Rod, you were about to do a celebration over there, but it's still kind of like this heavy sigh of, I know it's still in it, but here's to cheer you up. They may be closed, but Greyhound, the Hounds Waves Radio will always be open.
Yes, that is something to definitely cheer about and toast about. Here's to you, Greyhound Waves. I said Hound Waves.
Hound
What's
Waves.
that,
Yeah,
Greyhound Waves?
I think
You
because
made
we
me
use
say
it.
that.
Yes,
You made me say
I
that.
believe so. I'm so sorry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, that does it for the. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say if we can make sure we appreciate Mr.
Oh,
Andy
yes.
Mason again, but go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr. Andy Mason, for being here live in the studio with us and for sharing his wonderful music. He had his own playlist, which you can actually check out, Rod. Did you know this?
I did.
You can check it out on Let's Talk TRiO or on spinitron.com and look up Let's Talk TRiO. You'll find the playlist that we played this evening.
Awesome.
And I want to say thank you to also just everybody for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Until then, have a great evening. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I will leave you with this song by the Shout Out Louds. It's called Fall Hard. Any last words, Mr. DJ Brother Rod?
Well, I would just like to say am I late or early? Happy birthday to your wife, Melinda.
You are early, actually. Yeah.
I want to say, I know you'll have your time to tell a happy birthday, but I would just like to say happy birthday. And to all of our students who have several October birthdays, happy birthday to everyone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for us. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Let's Talk TRiO on Hound Waves College Radio.